So it's still getting darker and drearier out there. Just following up on my last podcast, um, how to cope with difficult situations. I got thinking about it a little bit more, and just this week now, when you consider things on a world stage, things seem to be getting bleaker and bleaker. Ukraine seems to be at a stalemate. The issue in Gaza and the Israelis is causing political turmoil. The likes of Putin and Xi Jinping, though they might be rubbing their hands in with glee, they've got their own problems because there's unrest in their own countries as well. And furthermore, in the American side of politics as well, Trump is still there. There's a risk that he might come back next year, and if that's the case, we could see things like the US pulling out of NATO, or extreme situations, extreme political situations. Um, and I think to myself, oh my God, like what the hell am I been following for the last 3 years? But then you have to consider the fact that the world has been in turmoil for well over 100 years. This is normal. This is our normal. And I remember the podcast I did about Eamon McGee and his upbringing. He was brought up in Northern Ireland. I think it was the Falls Road he lived on. But the point I'm trying to make is you will survive this. We will get through this. And we will get through it better if we care about things more. And when you consider care is defined as willing to think about and to look after somebody or a situation, when you're concerned for the welfare and the maintenance of a person or a situation, that's what care is. And there's a limit to the amount of care that we can put into it. And what I found is what's called compassion fatigue. Now, compassion fatigue is brought about when you have an unhealthy um, care about something. For example, if you're getting overwhelmed by what's going on in the military or in your organization or even in your neighborhood or issues like that, it's important to realize that there's only so much you can do about it. If you're being pushed around, you can either go ahead with it, or you can push back, or you can just walk away, or you can fall ill from it. But by realizing what stage of fatigue that you have in terms of care, it'll help you realize that you shouldn't be pushing in too hard in the first place. So stage one, care fatigue, is called the overzealous stage. And that's the situation where, for example, if you're your first time into a new job or a new organization or a new situation, and you're full of energy and you're full of care and you really want to get things done, and you're running around the place and you're calling up everybody and saying, we're doing this, that, and the other, and you're full of energy, full of beans. And after 3, 4, 5 days, weeks, or months of this, and suddenly it starts to hit you. You're exhausted. Okay, so that's stage one, compassion fatigue. So what happens when you get to that, when you fall over that cliff edge? Okay, you've run out of energy. Stage two is withdrawal. Okay, and what that means is you realize you've overstepped your mark. You've overcompensated. You've put too much energy into it, and now you feel you have to step it back a bit. You have to retreat. You don't want to quit, but you just want to slow things down. The problem there, of course, is if you withdraw too fast, you're either going to hurt yourself, or you're going to hurt the people around you, or you're going to hurt the situation even more if you just pull out of it altogether. So you have to be very careful and mindful if you are in stage two, just to be realize that there's a lot of you can't just pull out immediately. Stage three is where if you're stuck in the situation for a long time, you don't have the energy for it anymore. you now become irritable. And that means that you see all the faults in the situation. You see all the faults in the people that you're involved with. You see faults in everything. When you're required to do something, you just do not feel like doing it, and you keep putting it off. And whenever you do have to do something, you've no energy into it, and you're always angry and negative, and everybody gets that low spirit vibe off you. So that's stage 3. And God help us, when you go into stage 4, what's happened then is, because of your negative spirit and your low energy and your low tolerance for people and the situation, you become a zombie. You're literally, you're walking quietly through the organization, and what that does, you're putting out vibes that you just don't care anymore. You're dead to the organization. You're just filling a spot, and people start to see that, and it affects them, and they too become uh, irritable or zombified or even zealous. You'll see all the different stages. You'll see as you will see those different stages in other people, and you will realize that the organization or the unit that you're in is stagnating, and everybody sees the negativity in it, and it just falls apart after that. So it's important to realize what stage of compassion fatigue you are in, and what kind of fatigue are everybody else in. So what can we do to negate that, preserve that, prevent ourselves from falling into that trap? Well, it's all about self-care. You have to be consoling to yourself. You have to get yourself back feeling again. And if that means taking a break, you can take a couple of weeks break or take a break out of it. But to signal to everybody that, yeah, I'm getting tired of this. Can I have it? I'm going to step back just for a couple of weeks. I'll be back. You reassure everybody that everything is fine. You just need time to recuperate your energy. On top of that, it's from that, yeah, you have to communicate with other people that if you're feeling pushed around, or the situation has required you to work that little bit harder, be sure to bring it up with people, and just look at people in the eye and let them realize that you're struggling. Okay, and it's fine to be like that. Again, you also have to be gentle with yourself, and you have to be gentle with the people around you. You don't want, you might be going through a depression, but there's no point dragging everybody down with you. It's no point bringing down the whole organization or the mission, because everything will fall apart once if you allow that to happen. So it's important to be gentle to yourself and gentle with the people around you. And finally, you have to be innocent with everybody. If the situation requires you to do a particularly repugnant task, or if everybody realizes it's a very difficult task that you have to do, just realize that it's not because you're being weak and you're the weakest link and everybody's expecting you to pick up or carry the load. Just realize that that situation is there, and somebody has to get involved with it. And of course, if you do not do it, it just means that somebody else you care about is going to end up having to do it. So just realize that, and maybe to communicate to the other team members that this is going to take more than one person to share that load. It's important to do that. So that's all I have to say. A bit of self-care, look after yourself, and soldier on. Thank you. Take care.